love the channel and find it useful in becoming a happy retiree. Subscribe today. All right, we have a lot to talk about today. Tax changes, actually some pretty important nuanced tax changes that impact Georgia taxpayers under the new federal tax changes. We're going to talk about some of the companies that have already rushed to bonus people up because of the new tax plan, the raising minimum wages, all real live stuff. Anyway, good morning. We're talking about the tax changes, how they impact the economy on a macro level, big picture perspective. And what I'm worried about is that we have this clouded judgment as a nation. So if we don't like the political party that's in charge, we discount anything that happens to be good news. And it happens more and more emphatically, and it has over the last decade. Okay. So we've been talking, so I want to help you figure out the tax changes and then the impact of those tax changes. We're going to do that here on the show. And there's some new wrinkles that they're not new. Everything's new because it's a brand new tax bill that impacts Georgia taxpayers. I am not a CPA. I'm not a full-time tax guy. But I'm a certified financial planner. So my focus, of course, is on investments, and taxes come into that equation from a planning perspective. But I don't spend my fall, or let's call it the spring, February, March, April, doing tax returns. But I've always been fascinated with taxes. I love the topic of taxation, or figuring out what taxes mean and how to be most efficient and not overpaying in taxes, and really been fascinated by the new tax reform because it has such big economic implications. I have spent hundreds of hours in the last several months, or in the last month, or really a couple months, because we kind of knew what was coming down the pike before the end of the year, trying to figure out and understand what all these changes are going to mean for you, for our clients, for our listeners. And hence, I'm giving you all of that right here on the show, what are educated guesses, because again, I'm not a CPA, and quite frankly, most CPAs are still, I can tell you, almost every single CPA, and I talked to 4 different firms this week trying to help me understand, they're trying to figure it out too. So it is brand new, and you're getting my educated guess on how tax reform will impact you, not just on a macro perspective, but directly. And that's why we've been doing the Trump tax reform calculator and answering your calls and questions on what it means for your particular taxes. And by the way, we'll do that again today. So that tax calculator that we've been using to give us an estimation on what it means for your taxes, it's gotten even more and more specific. So they keep, as they roll out exactly what's happening to the tax code, they're adding that to the calculator. And what they've done is they've actually added more specific changes on anybody who pays AMT, alternative minimum tax. So if you are paying AMT, I want you to go find your 1040 in the next hour and a half, and we will tell you if your alternative minimum tax piece of the tax equation will go up or down. I look at the world we live in, and there is just this complete polarization in America politically, and it blinds so many Americans to what's really happening in the real economy. And I'm floored by how political people want to make the topic of economics. About half the country is so clouded by how much they hate the new administration, they will not even admit that the economy is doing well. And I guess you could say the same thing before the Trump administration in office. There were people that hated Obama so much that they couldn't even stomach to admit that the economy was actually doing well at any given point in time. Same thing's happening today, but even more extreme. My hate mail, flooded it over the last several weeks. And ever since I started talking about the topic or the impact of tax reform, people immediately think that's a political issue. I've said the tax reform could double GDP over the next growth rate over the next 2 to 3 years, just like what happened after the 2003 tax cuts. And I've been calling these tax cuts shock and awe tax reform because it is. The package equates to an immediate $205 billion in stimulus, for the U.S. economy in 2018. That's over 1% of GDP, and it could potentially end up being much more than that. This package is decidedly bigger than the Bush tax cuts. And I think looking at GDP before and after the 03 cuts it's a useful exercise. And we've gone over that before. The emails that I've been getting, though, they're pretty nasty. And they're trying to politicize. My job is just to talk about economics. I'm not trying to be political here at all. But I get these letters that, hey, say that you're a Trump-loving scum, and the bleeping tax cuts are all going to the filthy rich. Here's another one. You are blinded, sir, and this was a nice one, by rose glasses and Republican red lies. What? I am trying my best not to bring politics into this. I'm just trying to go by economic history. Let me give you a couple of concrete ideas of what's happening because of this tax reform, and then we'll go to the phones here. The Bank of James, I don't even know where the Bank of James is, but they increased their wage base to $15 per hour for employees serving more than a year and increase employee vacation days. That's a real change. Carl Black Automotive Group, bonuses for 500 employees based on years of service. Rush Enterprises, got some good clients and friends over at Rush. $1,000 bonuses for 6,600 employees. Ocean First Bank increased their wage base to $15 an hour. These are little companies I'm talking about. Now, here's a big one. Wells Fargo increased their wage base from $13.50 an hour to $15 an hour. That's a real number, and that's a permanent change. That's not just a Christmas bonus. $13.50 an hour to go to $15 is a $1.50 increase on $13.50. It's an 11.1% pay increase. That's gonna stick. That's something that happened post this tax cut because of the tax cut. Comerica, $1,000 bonus for 4,500 people. Comcast, $1,000 bonus for 100,000 people. I mean, I have multiple pages of big, middle, and small companies doing something because of the tax cut. Fifth Third Bancorp, $1,000 bonuses for 13,500 people. First Financial Northwest, I don't even know where they are. $1,000 bonuses for all non-executive employees. First Hawaiian Bank, you can figure out where they are. $1,500 bonuses for 2,264 employees. First Horizon National Corporation, $1,000 bonuses for 4,000 employees. As the list goes on and on and on, between bonuses and wage increases because of this tax reform. So these are real changes. These are not, I'm not being political here. I'm just talking about the economic reality that we now live in. The brightness on our screen just turned up a little bit. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's a wonderful development from an economic standpoint. And there's no politics in that. And I want you to take off your political glasses and just understand what's happening in the economy. And it'll make you a much better investor. Hi, I'm Wes Moss, and thanks for taking a minute to hear about what's so different about my new book, You Can Retire Sooner Than You Think. So unlike other retirement books, this book will give you a step-by-step guide, whether you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s, to learn from what these successful and happy retirees did to get there. I hope you enjoy the book, but more importantly, I know that it'll help you retire sooner than you think.